Have you ever stopped and wondered why you care so much about your status? Or why you feel that pang of guilt? Or why we get so fired up about politics? It really feels like we're the ones in the driver's seat, right? But what if I told you that just beneath the surface, our behaviors are being guided by an invisible biological code, a code written over millions of years by a blind programmer we call natural selection? This quote from Robert Wright, it just nails it. The puppeteer he's talking about, that's our own evolutionary heritage. It's the whole collection of instincts that helped our ancestors survive and thrive. So, you see, understanding the puppeteer's logic is really the key to understanding ourselves. It's the first step to maybe, just maybe, cutting a few of those strings. So, what is this ancient programming really? It's not some simple, brutish instinct to be read in tooth and claw. No, it's way more subtle than that. It's this incredibly complex system that builds everything from our social lives to our deepest moral convictions. And today, we're going to crack it open. We are going to decipher that code. All right, part 1, the political animal. Let's start with the most obvious, the most visible output of our primal code, our obsession with status and power. You know, underneath all the fancy ideologies and debates of modern politics, there's a much older game being played. The universal, ancient drive for social hierarchy. Now, here's the thing that might surprise you. Hierarchies, or pecking orders, they don't really exist for the good of the group. Natural selection is, well, a little more selfish than that. Instead, they come from this cold, hard individual calculation. I mean, think about it. For our ancestors, it was just smarter to back down from a fight you were probably going to lose than to risk getting seriously hurt. That one simple, self-preserving decision, when made over and over by everyone, is what creates the pecking orders we see everywhere. And check this out. The logic is basically identical, even if the methods have changed. Our primate cousins might use raw physical strength. We use wealth, fancy degrees, and strategic alliances. They build coalitions by grooming each other. We call it networking over coffee. Sound familiar? But get this, even the biochemistry lines up. High serotonin levels are linked to confidence and leadership in both chimpanzee alphas and in human CEOs. Our modern political arenas, they're really just high-tech versions of the same old primate dominance game. Okay, so our ancient programming isn't just about competing and climbing the ladder. It's not all dog-eat-dog. Our primal code also has this incredible cooperative side. It's the blueprint for the intricate social machine that lets us build entire societies. And it all kicks off with a really simple but really powerful strategy. This is the absolute foundation of what biologists call reciprocal altruism. In tons of computer simulations, the simple tit-for-tat strategy wins. It's a winner because it starts out nice, it's trusting, but you can't exploit it because it immediately punishes anyone who cheats. And crucially, it's forgiving. The moment you start cooperating again, it cooperates right back. I mean, think about any successful partnership you've ever had, in business or friendship. It's built on this exact logic. You start with trust, you hold people accountable, but you also have the grace to move on after a mistake. And this is where it gets absolutely wild. Our most profound moral emotions, they're basically the biological hardware running this social software. That warm, fuzzy feeling of gratitude, it's not just a feeling, it's a meticulously calibrated IOU stamped in your brain, making sure you repay your social debts. And guilt, think of it as your internal PR agent, a reputation management tool that kicks in hardest when you think you might get caught. And that fire of moral outrage you feel when you see injustice, that's the system's enforcer, an ancient impulse to punish the cheaters and protect the whole cooperative machine. So this Darwinian way of looking at our emotions, seeing them as these pragmatic tools for genetic survival, it leads us right into this fascinating and, let's be honest, kind of unsettling philosophical showdown. In one corner, you've got Plato, representing this classical, noble ideal. He saw humanity as fundamentally rational, our souls always striving to grasp some higher, perfect, transcendent truth. The goal is perfection, like a perfect geometric sphere. And in the other corner, you've got Darwin, representing biological reality. For him, morality is just an adaptation, a useful illusion our genes use to copy themselves. It's not a perfect sphere, it's more like a tangled, thorny vine. The goal isn't perfection, it's just management. And this quote from C.S. Lewis just perfectly nails the problem here. Darwinian evolution tells us what is. It tells us that certain behaviors helped our ancestors survive, but it can never tell us what we ought to do. Just because something exists in nature doesn't automatically make it right. It's like this. Biology can tell us our bodies are wired to crave sugar for quick energy. That's a fact. That's an is. But it can't tell us we ought to eat a whole chocolate cake. That's a value judgment, and evolution on its own doesn't give us any.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds a bit bleak, a little deterministic, like we're all just puppets dancing on genetic strings. But that brings us to our final and honestly, our most hopeful section. Are we trapped? Or is there a way to rebel against this ancient code?
This is the big question, isn't it? If our emotions, our politics, our morals, if they're all just tools for our genes to make more copies of themselves, what does that mean for free will, for our ability to be genuinely good people? Well, the answer, maybe surprisingly, is that understanding the logic of the puppeteer is the very thing that gives us the power to cut the strings. And if you want the ultimate proof, here it is. Richard Dawkins points out this simple but incredibly profound act of rebellion. The absolute number one, non-negotiable directive of our selfish genes is to reproduce, to make more copies. And yet millions of us, every day, consciously and deliberately use our rational minds to subvert that goal. If that isn't proof we're not slaves, I don't know what is.
So here's the key takeaway. Awareness itself is a superpower. It's like being able to see the clockwork gears inside your own mind. Once you recognize that flash of tribal outrage at a political opponent or that little pang of status anxiety, once you see it as just an echo from an old survival strategy, you gain the ability to step back. You can reach for this metaphorical lever and choose to pull it. You get to use what some call a conscious veto, the power to interrupt the impulse and choose a different, more rational, and maybe more compassionate path.
And that's really what it all boils down to. We're the first species on this planet to actually read our own source code. We can't delete it, that's for sure, but we don't have to just run the program blindly. By understanding the animal within, we earn the chance to become something more. The code is in your hands now, so the only question left is, how will you choose to rewrite it?